So, what if I told you the secret to selling way more food at a stadium isn't about having better food, but having a better system? Today, we're going to break down a strategy called the velocity model. And trust me, it's an operations first approach that is designed to completely dominate in these high pressure, super busy environments.
Oh man, we've all been there, right? You hear that huge roar from the crowd. You know it was an amazing play. Maybe even the game-winning goal, and you just missed it. Why? Because you were stuck in a line that just wasn't moving. That feeling, that shared frustration, is the exact problem the velocity model was built to solve.
And this leads us to the big aha moment of the whole thing. When you're at a live event, what's the most valuable thing you have? It's not the fancy burger, it's your time. The vendor who wins isn't the one with the best hot dog. It's the one who gets you back to your seat the fastest. In this game, speed is the product.
Okay, so if speed is the name of the game, how do you actually win? Well, it takes a complete pivot in how you think. We're not talking about tweaking a recipe here. We're talking about building a better machine from the ground up.
Think about it this way. Most food vendors are out there competing on taste, right? Who's got the juiciest burger, the crispiest fries? The velocity model just throws that whole idea out the window. It says, in a place like a stadium, you should be competing on operations. The real battle isn't one on the grill. It's one with logistics, workflow, and super smart inventory.
And this isn't just some random idea. I mean, think about how online stores completely changed the game for retail with better logistics. It's the same principle. A food vendor can totally dominate a stadium, not with a better sauce, but by building a better operational machine. That's where the real lasting advantage is.
All right, so what does this mean in practice? What does this machine actually look like? Well, the first big piece of the puzzle is all about winning what they call the last mile. You've got to close that critical gap between your kitchen and the fan in their seat.
You know, in e-commerce, the last mile is that final journey from the warehouse to your front door. It's the same idea in a stadium, just on a much smaller scale. It's the distance from the tricks window to the fan's seat. The key to victory is making that short little journey as fast and frictionless as humanly possible.
And the solution is actually pretty brilliant. You completely redesign the whole customer experience. Instead of the fans waiting on you, the ordering comes to them. They just scan a QR code from their seat, pick what they want, and pay right there on their phone. They can keep watching the game, and then boom, they get a little notification when it's ready. They just pop up for a second to grab it. The line is just gone. But this is more than just a slick app. It's also about the physical design of the truck itself. You re-engineer it to work like a production line. By having a totally separate window just for collection, you get rid of that classic bottleneck where people ordering and people waiting are all crammed into the same space. It's a simple change, but it keeps everyone moving. Okay, so fixing the customer flow is a huge step, but it's only half the battle. Now you have to make sure the kitchen can actually keep up with all this new speed. And that brings us to the second pillar, way smarter inventory. You know, the beautiful thing about a sporting event is that it's incredibly predictable. You know exactly when the biggest rushes are going to happen, right before the game starts and during halftime. So just-in-time preparation just means you use the game clock as your production manager. You're not guessing when you'll be busy, you're getting ready for a surge that you know is coming. And the data on this is just wild. It shows this critical window called the peak 20. This is the 20-minute period right before kickoff and smack in the middle of halftime, where, get this, a staggering 80% of your total sales can happen. Your entire operation, every single part of it, has to be fine-tuned to absolutely crush those few crucial minutes.
Now, this might sound a little counterintuitive, but a huge part of being ready is actually shrinking your menu. It becomes a massive advantage. When you focus on just a few hero items that share a lot of the same ingredients, you simplify everything. You get faster, you're less likely to run out of stuff, and your whole production line becomes dramatically more efficient.
So you're fast, you're prepared. But what happens when you just plain run out of supplies? This brings us to the third pillar, which tackles the food truck's biggest weakness. It's tiny.
The answer is to stop thinking of your truck as a little self-contained island. Instead, you treat it as the final link in a supply chain that you actually control right there on site.
Here's how it works. The truck itself is just the spoke. That's the part the customer sees. But nearby, you have a hub, something like a big refrigerated trailer that's holding all your bulk supplies. Then you have a dedicated person, a supply runner, whose only job is to move stock from the hub to the spoke during the quiet parts of the game. This means the truck never,
ever runs dry during that peak rush. It's so simple, but it's a total game changer. So what happens when you combine all three of these pillars? You've got efficient last-mile delivery, you've got predictive inventory, and you've got that hub-and-spoke supply chain. What you get is a completely new type of vendor. I mean, just look at the final results side by side. The traditional vendor, they've got a physical line and a wait time of 5 to 10 minutes easy. The operations-led truck, mobile ordering and serving customers in under 60 seconds. One is totally limited by what they can fit in the truck. The other has a continuous, never-ending supply. It's not even a fair fight.
And really, the ultimate takeaway is this. In an environment like a stadium where context is everything, the operational model, the how, is a much more powerful weapon than the product itself. The best system always wins. And this leaves us with one final thought. Now, this whole model was about a food truck, but the principle is universal. So think about it. What's the long food queue in your world, in your industry? And what's that one invisible operational shift that could make it all just disappear?